Olá, pessoal, boa tarde. Boa tarde a mais um webinar técnico aqui no Embarcados. Nós que temos essa missão, né, de trazer para vocês sempre bastante conteúdos técnicos para os seus projetos de sistemas embarcados e IoT. Estamos ao vivo nesse momento. Obrigado a todos que se inscreveram nesse webinar, né, e também ajudaram a gente a divulgar esse webinar. Hoje a gente traz aqui o Simon Reúne, tá? É Simon, desculpa a pronúncia certinha do nome dele. O Simon vem falar sobre especificações de componentes passivos, né? E você vai entender melhor como escolher dispositivos que melhor se encaixam a seus projetos, tá, pessoal? Esse webinar, que é um oferecimento da Mauser Electronics, né? Que a gente está trazendo aqui os parceiros da Mauser Electronics. Nós já fizemos diversos webinars, né, com os parceiros, ou seja, com os fabricantes principalmente, tá? Então os fabricantes vêm e mostram um pouco sobre a linha deles e mostram também a aplicabilidade para ajudar vocês nos projetos, tá? Hoje nós vamos falar de componentes passivos. É uma das primeiras vezes que a gente fala e explora a linha completa de componentes passivos. Vamos falar de resistor, de capacitor, de indutor, de ferrite bead, de dispositivos para EMC e EMI em geral, tá? Ou seja, hoje vai ser um papo de hardware, tá, pessoal? Obrigado a todos também que foram no evento do Embarcados. Ficamos muito contentes com a presença de todos. Aqui no nosso webinar, que acontece ao vivo, né? A gente sempre conta com a presença de vocês e pelo valioso tempo de vocês. Então, pessoal, o Simon está ao vivo, lá dos Estados Unidos. Please, Simon, come to the room and present yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Simon Reuning, so the pronunciation was very good. I'm the field applications engineer for Yageo Group. I cover the Central United States and Latin America, and I'm very excited to be here today and answer some questions at the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Obrigado, Simon. Thank you, Simon. O Simon, então, está lá ao vivo nos Estados Unidos. Ele aí trabalha com design, né? Ele ajuda o pessoal em todo o seu design. Ele está no Grupo Yageo, que depois vocês vão ver que a Kemet faz parte do Grupo Yageo também. E ele está mais do que feliz de estar aqui com a gente hoje. Tá? Então, deixa suas perguntas, que a gente vai rolar uma sessão de perguntas e respostas no final, com para responder todas as perguntas, beleza? Esse webinar, então, é patrocinado pela Mauser Electronics, viu, pessoal? A Mauser Electronics, que conta com mais de 1.100 fabricantes em seu portfólio. Só trabalha com produtos originais, né? Eles sempre têm os mais novos produtos em estoque, então as fábricas, quando elas já lançam o produto, muitas vezes elas mandam direto para a Mauser, tá? Nas primeiras produções, inclusive. Todas as ordens são colocadas, né? Praticamente no mesmo dia ou no dia seguinte, tá? E tem o 0800 892 2210. Você fala em português se você tiver dúvida na Mauser. Vou repetir, 0800 892 2210 e no brasil@mauser.com, tá? Se você tiver alguma dúvida, brasil@mauser.com, manda para eles que eles respondem vocês. Vamos nessa então. Então vamos começar o webinar. E eu vou chamar aqui para a sala o Lucas, que é da Artmar. E o Lucas vai fazer a introdução, né, antes da gente começar aqui no webinar com o Simon, tá? O webinar com o Simon que foi gravado, a gente colocou legendas para vocês, tudo certinho. Vamos chamar o Lucas para a sala, então. Lucas, se apresente e pode começar a apresentação.
Boa tarde, pessoal, tudo bem? Meu nome é Lucas, eu sou Technical Marketing aqui na Artmar. Nós representamos a Kemet Yageo no Brasil. A marca Kemet e a marca Yageo. Eu vou explicar um pouquinho primeiro nesse slide quais nossa missão, visão e valores da companhia. A Artmar tem como missão promover o desenvolvimento de pessoas e de organizações através da tecnologia. Essa é a principal missão da Artmar. A Artmar tem como objetivo ser referência na identificação de pessoas e objetivos organizacionais de maneira a propor a melhor solução tecnológica. Nós alinhamos os objetivos da organização, aonde a organização quer chegar, para fazer com que ela atinja os objetivos tecnológicos nela, de acordo com o desenvolvimento que ela precisa. Os nossos principais valores como empresa seria a ética, o comprometimento, a humildade, o respeito e o principal, a verdade. Próximo. Vou falar um pouquinho. Nós somos o representante exclusivo da Chemet Yageo na América do Sul e na América Central. Nós temos como suporte uma equipe de CROs, são engenheiros alocados em regiões, nas macro-regiões do Brasil, atuando em conjunto com os distribuidores autorizados Chemet e Yageo. A Chemet e a Yageo, ela tem um engenheiro especialista, um engenheiro de aplicações, né, um Field Application Engineer, nós falamos FAE, para atuar no suporte técnico das suas demandas e nas oportunidades em conjunto com o distribuidor autorizado e com o engenheiro de vendas alocados na região aqui na Artimar. A Artimar ela é uma empresa que ela está há mais de 60 anos no mercado, ela possui 6 mil clientes ativos em todo o território que atua, ela tem mais de 20 distribuidores parceiros, incluindo os distribuidores globais, regionais e de catálogo. Quem é a Yageo? A Yageo ela tem headquarter no Taipei, no Taiwan. Ela possui a Chemet como uma das principais empresas do grupo, então nós representamos a Chemet e a Yageo. A Yageo ela foi fundada em 1977. Ela possui cerca de 40 mil funcionários, 40 mil colaboradores, está alocada em 97 regiões, possui um faturamento anual na casa dos 4,1 bi de dólares, 2 mil patentes e 273 mil clientes ao redor do mundo. A Yageo e a Chemet, empresas que nós representamos, possuem uma grande variedade de portfólios, como capacitores MLCCs, resistores, circuitos de proteção, para colocar na entrada do circuito. A Chemet, ela possui como portfólio os MLCCs, os capacitores tântalo, como MnO2 e polímeros, os polímeros de alumínio, nós temos esses polímeros na versão H-chip e V-chip, os eletrolíticos de alumínio na versão V-chip é a versão vertical, H-chip na versão horizontal, os magnéticos como indutores e chokes, flex suppressor, que o Simon vai detalhar logo mais na gravação, que nós realizamos, filtros EMI, sensores, atuadores e supercapacitores. Vou falar um pouquinho do apresentador desse webinar. O Simon ele é formado em engenharia elétrica pela Universidade do Texas, em Dallas. Ele trabalhou como engenheiro de projetos de fonte de alimentação de alta tensão por 7 anos. Ele possui mestrado em administração de empresas na Universidade do Norte de Texas, University of North Texas, e ele está no Grupo Yageo há 2 anos. Vou falar um pouquinho o que será abordado nesse webinar. Primeiro, a gente vai ser abordado como é que vai ser escolhido esses componentes passivos da menor maneira possível. Será abordado as especificações das seguintes famílias de produto: MSA, chokes, indutores de modo comum, flex suppressor, sensores, componentes para EMC, capacitores polímeros. Quais as vantagens deles? Nós temos os polímeros de alumínio e os polímeros de tântalo. Circuito de proteção TVS. Sensores piezo. Nós temos muito utilizado em aplicação, por exemplo, médica, na questão do ultrassom. Supercapacitores e capacitores de tântalo. Tiago, por favor, poderia dar iniciar o vídeo? E eu desejo a todos vocês um excelente webinar.
É isso aí, pessoal. Excelente webinar a todos. Vamos começar o vídeo.
Welcome, everybody, for today's Yageo Group training, one-stop shop for passive components. Before we get started with the presentation, I just want to talk about myself a little bit. My name is Simon Reuning, and I'm the Field Applications Engineer for the Central United States and Latin America. You can see my contact email here and my cell phone number. My degree I got from the University of Texas in Dallas. That's where I got my Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. And then I got my master's of business administration at the University of North Texas. And I've been now with Yageo Group since 2021. And before that, I did design engineering for switchboard power supplies in the high voltage range for 7 years. So I do have a little bit of a good background into the design world, and now I switched over into passive components and just really advising people on what kind of components would be useful for them to utilize in their applications. So before we go into all the details, I just want to give a couple of highlights of Yageo Group itself. You can see here that Yageo was founded in 1977. And with all these acquisitions over time, Yageo Group has really grown into a very large company. And you can see that we now have 40,000 global employees. We have over 97 locations worldwide. We have 4.1 billion yearly revenue from last year, 2,000 patents, and 273,000 global customers. Now, a little bit of a highlight that I want to show here is when you look at the milestone in general. You see here, Yageo was founded in 1977, and then over time, there has been multiple acquisitions, but the biggest ones here in 2018 and 2020, as well as 2022, where Yageo has acquired Chemet and Pulse. And so with all of these acquisitions, the main goal for Yageo Group here is to really become a one-stop shop for passive components. And so if you start looking here at the passive components, you can see that we want to really help with anything that plugs in, turns on or off, or uses a battery. Right now, we have 90% of the passive portfolio that we can offer. And if people start looking at passive components in general, they look at resistors, inductors, and capacitors. But as you start seeing all the additional components that we can actually have is also circuit protection, power magnetics, Ethernet magnetics, signal magnetics, antennas, RF components, sensors, and actuators. So there's a lot more to the passive components than just the resistors, inductors, and capacitors. And so with that, we have really expanded our portfolio to really serve any type of market that is in need of a passive component. And as we start acquiring more and more companies in the future, you'll also see that will serve that goal to really become a one-stop shop for passive components. Right now, if you start looking at Yageo Group, you will notice that we can actually offer you 95% of the dielectric solutions. And what that actually is when you start looking here at this picture, I really like this graph because it can show you a little bit of what the limitations of each technology is. And it can also show what kind of voltage and capacitance range you can have in each technology. So you see here we have ceramic, foam, aluminum electrolytic, tantalum, polymer, and then EDLCs, which is supercapacitors. And then you can see which kind of voltage range each product can do and what kind of capacitance range each product has. So if you're looking for a very high voltage component, up to 10,000 volts, you can see that you have ceramics here. That's pretty much the only type of technology that can handle these high voltages. And then if you need something with a little bit larger capacitance, you see here, higher voltage, high capacitance, that's really where aluminum electrolytics are very strong. And then when you need very high capacitance, that's when you, of course, go with supercapacitors. So now with Chemet, with Yageo Group, we also have different types of reliability grades. And so when you start looking here, we have commercial, automotive, HRA cards, military, space grade, and we also have custom parts. So if you do have something that has very specific reliability requirements, we can also give you a custom product for that. Now here with commercial and automotive, there's a little bit of overlap for Yageo and Chemet. But then as you start going into the high reliability products, you really are only limited to Chemet products. So what does it actually mean when you start going up into these different types of reliability grades? And so what that means is as you start moving from the left to the right, you start ending up with a more reliable product. And that's going to be a more robust design. We're going to have enhanced control for the process and testing. There's also going to be additional benefits for you just having the knowledge of a more robust product that can handle harsher environments, and that has additional testing done to the product based on specifications of either the reliability grade or what the customer specifications are. So now one of the things that happens when you start going more and more to the right, you do also increase the cost of the product and you decrease the CV availability. So as you start moving to the right, there's not going to be as much of a capacitance and voltage range as you would have with a lower reliability grade. But when you do have applications that really do need these higher reliability grades, you can rest assured that we at Yageo can really give you this product that can eliminate infant mortalities or reduce infant mortalities, that can reduce life failures and increase the MTTF as well. So how does that actually look like when we start looking at an application? Well, first thing first, we have here just as an example, a power conversion top level component. So when you start looking here at this very brief diagram, you can see that we have an EMI filter, we have a PFC, there's a DC to DC converter, and then there is a filter. And for those of you who have already recognized what this product is, this would be an onboard charger for the vehicle. But again, this is just as an example, so you guys can really be primed and see exactly what type of components we can offer to the customer. Well, first things first, when you start looking here at the EMI filter, we can offer you the safety capacitors. And there's different options, be it surface mount or be it through-hole components. But then going forward, we also have the AC harmonic filter capacitors. And here, there would also be a film product. Then we can give you a common mode choke. And as you can see already, the EMI filter is made up of the safety capacitor and a common mode choke. So we can actually offer you both products, which makes it very easy for you to actually pick the right parts because we can serve you with both product lines. Then you're going to need some type of circuit protection. So here we can offer you our MOVs, or we have also gas discharge tubes that could be put in series with the MOVs to reduce aging. Then as we go down the line, you have the PFC. So in the PFC, you're going to need some type of PFC inductor. That's something that we can also help you with. There's going to be a current sensor that you're going to need. There's going to be some type of snubber capacitor to protect your FETs from any noise. And here you can also see that we do have different technologies. We have film and we have MLCC. So both of those products can actually be utilized for those snubber capacitors. Then you're going to need some type of isolation transformer for the gate. And then you have DC link capacitors, which would be aluminum electrolytic, film, or MLCC. So once again, you're not just limited to one type of technology. So if you really have limitations on space or how much room you have available for a product line, you can actually really work with different types of technologies that might be a better fit for your particular application. And then if it's needed, we do also have power resistors for balancing needs. Then as we start going down the line, you have your DC to DC converter. And again, the voltages here are just as an example. Of course, you can adapt that to whatever your application looks like. But I just want to show you guys all the product that we can help you with and serve you with. And so here in the DC to DC converter, you would have, again, different types of snubber capacitors. There would be isolation transformers, again, for the gates. Then you would have some additional current sensors. And then here you could also have some different types of resonant capacitors. And here also important to notice that there's different technologies. Now with different switching frequencies and different applications, be it gallium nitride, silicon carbide, you might run into some issues where you run onto limits of what the film product can do. Now here you do have MLCCs that can handle these very high switching frequencies when you start looking at 500 kilohertz and above. And then here we could also have a power transformer. And then on the output here, just as an example, there was a filter, which is output inductors, and then they could also be some type of output filter capacitor. But again, this is open to whatever you want to design, and this can really go into any type of design. But what you can see here is that we can really serve you in every single section of this design and really have components that can fit into every single one of these applications. So that's really the goal, to have that one-stop shop for passive components. And here, this slide is actually really cool because it is an active slide. So what you can do is you can see that we have these little tiles on top of the components. So if you ever want to know a little bit more about a product or want to look up a data sheet, you can just use this slide, go over to the product that you're interested in, like a safety capacitor, and you can see that the website is already popping up. That will guide you to our website, and you'll see all the components that we have already pre-selected for you that would fall into the safety capacitor category. So it makes it very easy for you to find the product that would be interesting for you, and you don't have to stumble through the whole website trying to figure out exactly how, where everything is located and how everything is organized. You can just click on it, and all the safety capacitors are already pre-selected for you. So the same thing here for a different example would be an inverter. So now here, this is a similar setup, but I just want to show a couple of different examples of where we can actually serve you. So once again, here you have your EMI filter. You're going to need some safety capacitors. You need some common mode choke. You're going to have an AC harmonic filter. And then if you start going into the PFC, you would again have a PFC inductor, a current sensor, number capacitors, isolation transformers, DC link capacitors. And then as you start going into the H-bridge design here for an AC output or for a motor drive, whatever it might be, you would have some additional snubber capacitors, some isolation transformers. There's really a lot of different types of components that could go into this particular design. And so again, this is also a part here where you have different components that are already linked to our website. So you can just hover over them and click on it and it will guide you directly to our website. And here you can really see that there's a lot of components that we can actually serve you with, where you can really fit into these different types of applications and help you finalize your product with our portfolio. Lastly, here, I want to show you another example for a low voltage application. And here we just kind of, again, just as an example, you would have a DC to DC converter or a low voltage application. Here, you're going to have some type of input stage. On the input stage, you're going to have an input bulk capacitance. You would have an input inductor just for your filtering. So you can see just for the input stage, we can already give you full type of components. And here you also see that there's different types of technologies available for the DC link capacitor. You have tantalum polymer, aluminum hybrid, aluminum MLCC. So there's different types of technologies that can really fit into those applications. So it really matters of what is your application, how much space you have available, and you're not just limited to one type of technology. There's really a very large portfolio that we can help you with. And then if you need circuit protection, we also have a TVS diode. Then you might have something like a switch type converter. Here we can have your resonant inductors. It could be some additional resonant capacitors, an additional DC link capacitor. And then you start going into the DC to DC converter stage. Here we just have a couple of examples. Obviously, you're not going to have all three of those in one design, but we just want to show different types of applications where we could actually have a product that could serve you. So here we have our flyback type converter. We have a buck boost type converter. It could also just be a buck or just a boost. And then here we also have a step type converter, just for examples. Then here for your flyback, you would have a flyback transformer or isolation transformer that you would need. Then here you have an inductor for your step and buck boost. There would be some type of bulk capacitor. This could be, again, tantalum, aluminum polymer, aluminum hybrid, MLCC, really open to the designer of what kind of product they would need in those applications. Then here you have a current sense resistor. So with the current sense resistor, it's also important to know that we have a lot of very, very small surface mountable current sensors. So if you have applications that really need to have space restrictions or board space restrictions, you can have the current sense resistors as small as an 01005 resistor that is surface mountable, that you can place very close to your component, and it saves you a lot of space. And then here we would also have some precision resistors, which could be thin film or thick film precision resistors, really depending on the application. Then going down the line, you have your digital processor. Here, again, this could be a microcontroller. This could be an FPGA. It does not have to be a CPU. Again, this is just an example to get your wheels spinning and see all the opportunities that we have and what we can help you with. So here you also have the flex suppressors. So if you have some high frequency noise, EMI concerns, radiated emissions concerns, you could use flex suppressors to absorb that type of noise. And then you go to the output stage, which is really open to the designer, but just giving you an idea of where we can help you. We have connectors, we have antennas, we have RF capacitors, IPD, RF components, and then we also have several sensors, be it proximity, current sensor, vibration sensor, temperature, IR sensors, really large portfolio in our sensor technology as well. And in here you can see again that this is a product where we have different types of links for the website. So you can just go ahead and hover over the product that you'd be interested in, and then you can just go directly to the website and see all the products that would fit into this category and really utilize that for your application. So now what does it look like for our product portfolio? You've seen already a lot of applications now. So now what type of product do we actually have available? And just giving you guys a little bit of the highlights of the newest and greatest products that we have brought out. So right here at the very top, you can see Yageo resistors. With Yageo resistors, we are actually the market leader with over 30% of the world's production. Some of the latest and greatest highlights here, I already mentioned that on a previous slide, but here we have our metal current sense resistor all the way down to an 01005 size. So this is a very, very compact component, and it's wonderful to know that there's actually a metal current sense resistor. So this would be really great for your applications, especially if you work on a SEPIC type or a buck boost type of converter where you do need current sensing very close to your controller. We do also have several options for the expansions with automotive and consumer market and the alternative energy markets. Just with the environmental restrictions that you start having there, we have a lot of product that is obviously lead free now, but we also have several automotive components that can be thick film or thin film precision resistors that do also have the anti-solder joint cracking technology implemented into it. So there's really a wide portfolio open to you that you can use a lot of different type of products, really depending on what the application is. Then here with the Chemet polymer tantalums, we are also the market leader with over 40% of the world's gross production. And here there's also a first to market technology with a lot of the automotive market, aerospace and defense applications. You'll see that there's more and more adaptation in the markets for these type of technologies, because with the tantalum polymer capacitors, you have a very, very high energy density. So if you have applications, lower voltage applications, the energy density on those products is significantly higher than any other technology. And so if you have a low voltage application, say 24 volts and down, these products are extremely energy dense. So you can have a very large capacitance in a very small package. Right now, we can actually offer you an aluminum, a polymer tantalum in the size as small as an equivalent 0805 MLCC. So there's a very, very small component that can pack a lot of capacitance. So once you start running into these board space restrictions, if you start running into profile issues where you have to have very low profile components, this is a technology that you would actually want to start considering for those applications, because they can really give you a small part with a large capacitance. Now, they are very limited on what the voltage availability is, so that's what I'm saying. You want to look at lower voltage applications. Now, with the Yageo MLCCs and the Chemet MLCCs, I mentioned in the very beginning that there's a little bit of overlap in the automotive market, but you can see that both product types here have very different focus areas. So with Yageo, the MLCCs are focused on small case sizes and really maximizing the TV values. So you want to get a part that has the highest capacitance and voltage range possible in the smallest package. And you can see that the case size focuses here are 01005 all the way up to 2220. Then here with the Chemet product, you can see that there's different focuses. We are focused really on the class 1 dielectric, and then of course into the high reliability market, be it automotive, be it medical, be it power electronics, be it high voltage electronics. And then as you saw on the earlier slides, with all the higher reliability applications. So here with the high voltage applications, we have parts that go all the way up to 10,000 volts as a single component right now. And furthermore, we are also committed to larger case sizes, be it from 0805 all the way up to 3640. You may have noticed that the competition has been discontinuing some of the larger case sizes. And so that's just important for us to let you know that we are committed to continuously make those larger case sizes. So if you have applications that are still using that, be assured that we can still help you in those types of product categories. Now with our Chemet film capacitor team, there's also a lot of challenges that those markets are presenting to the film team. That is the automotive, the EV charging, and also the alternative energy. So I always do like to bring up the example for alternative energy. Here in Texas, you have a lot of hot days in the summer, and solar panels on top of a roof, they can really see some temperatures upwards of 70 Celsius. So those switch inverters that are going to be on the back of the solar panels are actually going to see some very, very hot temperatures. So now from us, we have to be able to guarantee that our product can actually work in those difficult environments. Right? Solar panels a lot of times are warranted for 25 years. So it's important to note that, hey, our product can actually support that for that life expectancy. So what the film team is facing is really harsher environment restrictions, hotter temperature restrictions, longer life restrictions, and also people want smaller components just in general. So miniaturization is also a big design factor. And so what you'll see that we have a lot of first to market safety and DC link capacitors that can actually meet those harsh environment requirements. So what you can see here, you see we have a lot of new product that is going to be 85/85 rated, 85C, 85% relative humidity for 1,000 hours. And you will also see that starting this year, all of our product coming out is going to be at least THB grade 1A certified. So this will be all the product coming out starting this year, Q3. And so with all these different environments, there's a lot of challenges that the film team faces. And that's why we have developed a lot of product they can meet those difficult humidity environments. They can meet those harsh environment temperatures. And here we can see that right now the hottest part that we have is 135 Celsius. So that part has an operating temperature all the way up to 135 C, which is really cool to mention. Now going forward here, we can look at our Chemet aluminum electrolytic capacitors. So here in this area, we are really focused on the larger capacitance, larger voltage products. But you can also see that there's lots and lots of new development going on, especially with the automotive market. One of the latest and really cool products that we have brought out is the rectangular aluminum electrolytic. So with the rectangular aluminum electrolytic, that really opens up the mind for the design engineer, because now you're not restricted to having those larger can sizes anymore. You can actually start thinking of your designs a little bit different of how you can actually implement this type of product, because now you do have the alternative to lay this part flat down, have a low profile option, or you can stand this part up and put multiple in parallel without taking as much space up for these round cylindrical aluminum electrolytics. So now here you do have a lot of different design alternatives. You can really think of your design in different perspectives, because now you do have the option to also have a low profile aluminum electrolytic. Now this product in particular also has a very high vibration standard. So this is rated up to 20 G, and that's also a huge benefit for your design if you do have concerns with vibration especially. Now going forward here, Chemet Pulse is also part of Yageo Group, but for today I'm just going to go talk about the Chemet magnetics. So with the Chemet magnetics here, we had Chemet had purchased a company called Token in 2018, and so that was a magnetic materials manufacturer. So they can really control the process from the very beginning, from the powder form. And so that gives us a lot of abilities to customize the product to the customer needs. We do also have a lot of off-the-shelf line products, and we don't shy away from actually modifying that to the customer requirements. So if they have different core shape requirements, they have low profile requirements, they need an additional turn on the product or take a turn off on the product, as long as we have room to make that happen, we will accommodate that and really customize the product to the customer's needs. Here's also another example. We do also have our metal composite inductors. Those metal composite inductors have a huge benefit over the ferrite inductors, which gives you soft saturation, and you have a temperature stable part that's also stable over different types of current levels. So here you don't have to worry about different levels of saturation curves, because this product, no matter which the temperature range is, will have a very, very close to the same saturation curve. You also have several benefits with this product, because right now we can offer you an inductor that can operate up to 180 Celsius. So that really opens up the market for especially automotive applications where you have hot under the hood applications, electric power steering, electric AC units, electric whatever else there's electric under the hood. There's really a lot of applications that have very hot environments, and that gives you some peace of mind to actually have a product that can operate at those hot temperature conditions. Now here, we do also have our Chemet sensors and actuators. There's also a very large portfolio where we can serve you with motion sensors, where we can serve you with IR sensor, temperature sensors, current sensors, and there really is a large portfolio. So think about it when you start working with the sensors and you need some specific application for your sensor application. Let us know, because we can definitely help you with our sensor portfolio. It is relatively extensive, so there's a lot of product that could actually be served in that category. And then lastly, here we also have Yageo circuit protection components, and that will be MOVs, TVSs, automotive grade TVSs, PPTCs, NTCs, really the whole portfolio as far as circuit protection goes. We can offer you something there as well. And here, one thing that I really want to note is, if you start running into lead time issues, do start thinking of Yageo products, because with Yageo resistors, Yageo MLCCs, and Yageo CPCs, we have significantly better lead times than our competition does. We're looking right now at 30 to 90 days for most of our products in those categories. And we're also opening up a new factory starting this July, which will also improve further the lead times on our products. Now going forward, some new acquisitions from this year. Yageo had acquired Nexenses, which will be a lot of thermal sensors that could be wired, that could be surface mountable thermal sensors. And that company now is part of Yageo Group as of April 1st. And then later this year, we do have also planned an additional acquisition of Telemechanique, which will be a lot of the industrial sensors, switches, photoelectric sensor, pressure sensors, inductive sensors. And so that portfolio will then also be added to our portfolio under Yageo Group towards the end of the year. But with that, you can see that all the acquisitions and all the product that we have really serves that one goal to become a one-stop shop for passives. And as you saw in the application examples, there's really a wide variety of products that we can serve into different applications, where we can serve you in different areas of your application. And there's really a lot of passive components that we can really help you with. And with that, I just want to thank everybody for today's time. And once again, here is my contact information if you guys ever have any questions. If you guys have a product that you're working on or need some additional help or want some insight on newer technology that's coming out, please let me know, and I'm more than happy to help you guys work on your designs and really figure out which passive component best fits into your application. Thank you so much.
Your audio's off. Your audio's off.
Ok. Thank you, Simon. Obrigado. Pessoal, então vocês viram um pouco da apresentação aí do Simon, né? Sobre os componentes da Kemet, como pode ajudar vocês no projeto de vocês, tá? Eu vou compartilhar a tela aqui e mostrar o site da Mauser, né? Para vocês. Só um instantinho, olha só. Aí, muito bem. Olha só, eu abri aqui o site da Mauser, onde vocês podem achar toda a linha da Kemet aqui. Tá aqui agora, faz parte do Grupo Yageo, né? Então, na Mauser, você vê que tá tudo organizado, né, por tipo de componente, tá? Então tem os capacitores cerâmicos, de tântalo, de alumínio, supercapacitores, filtro de linha AC, EMR, são os cores de ferrite, né, para compatibilidade eletromagnética, para interferência eletromagnética, indutores, atuadores, polímeros. Esse aqui são os capacitores pequenos, né, que ele falou que ajudam bastante na hora do projeto. Os capacitores, né, aqui inclusive tem alguns capacitores diferentes aqui, que ele comentou também durante a sua apresentação. Os film capacitors, os capacitores de filme, os varistores, filtro de linha DC, supressores, sensores, relés e kits de engenharia. Então, se você entrar em algum desses links aqui, você vai poder explorar mais, fazer comparativos também, tá? E aqui eu entrei aqui em um kit de engenharia, só para vocês darem uma olhada, né? Então, nesse kit de engenharia já vem diversos componentes, né? E é utilizado principalmente para o pessoal que testa, né? E utiliza no seu hardware. Então, se você precisa fazer um teste rápido, por exemplo, com supressor de EMI ou supercapacitor, capacitores, você já compra esse kit de engenharia aqui, né? E esse kit de engenharia, ele te ajuda na hora de você fazer o seu projeto, né? Quando você entra, por exemplo, nos cerâmicos aqui, você consegue fazer também um comparativo, tá? É só ir ver produtos e lá você consegue selecionar e fazer a comparação de um a um dos capacitores. Então, se você tem uma determinada necessidade, aí ele te dá vários itens e aí você pode ordenar por preço, por disponibilidade, entre outros fatores, tá? Então, tá aqui, você pode ver os datasheets também, dentro do site da Mauser, né? Vou entrar aqui num produto, só para vocês verem como que mostra quando você entra num produto. No produto aqui já tem todo o comparativo, tá vendo? Então você pode, dependendo da sua necessidade, você aplica os filtros aqui e ele vai te dar todas as opções que tem, né? Então, se você precisa de capacitante de 1 picofarad, você tem essas opções aqui, tá vendo? Que você começa a seguir. Por exemplo, você precisa de um SMD, né? Então aí tem essas 4 opções. E assim vai. E aí você vai aplicando os filtros e aqui embaixo vai aparecendo quais são os capacitores com aquele filtro, né? Então é bem prático de ver, né? Você pode fazer isso aqui, ó. Por exemplo, para você ver qual que está mais barato, tá? Desses de 1 pico, tá? Aí você vem, aplica o filtro de 1 pico aqui e aí vai aparecer lá para vocês, tá? Tá aqui, tá vendo? Então, apareceu esse daqui, da Kemet, tá vendo? Então, é bem simples de usar o site e dá para fazer bastante pesquisas, né? E também ajudar aí na hora do seu design. Eu vou voltar agora aqui com a tela para a gente fazer a sessão de perguntas e respostas. Só um minutinho, deixa eu fazer um setup aqui, aumentar minha câmera para vocês me verem. E é isso aí. Ó, então vou chamar agora o Lucas e o Simon para a sala. Simon, please come to the room. And Lucas, come to the room also.
Olá.
Obrigado, thank you. Simon, we have a question for you. Kemet has the supercap line for aerospace and military applications?
No, we do not. It's only going to be automotive grade, consumer market and automotive grade.
Carlos, o Simon respondeu que tem para automotivo e para linha de consumer, tá? Então não tem para a linha militar e aeroespacial, não. A Kemet, né, ele mostrou na apresentação que é uma das empresas que mais tem capacitores no mundo, né, que mais fabricam capacitores do mundo. O Simon, Kemet is one of the top leaders on the industry. You are the guys that most manufacture capacitors, right?
For the tantalum capacitors, yeah. So we have 40% of the world's production for polymer capacitors. And I believe with the MLCCs, Yageo and Kemet were number 2 and 3.
Ok. So, pessoal, em tântalo, 40% da produção mundial. E para os demais, está entre número 2 ou número 3 em termos de fabricação. Então, é um dos grandes fabricantes aí, quando se pensa, principalmente no capacitor de tântalo. O André pergunta o seguinte, como saber na mesma aplicação qual o melhor tipo de passivo para utilizar? Simon, how do I know, for the same application, what's the best component device, the best device to use on the design?
Well, that depends on what the main requirement is for your application. So if you have something that has to have a very high efficiency, you have very high switching frequencies, that's when you want to start looking at components like ceramic capacitors. Those are going to be better applicable for those types of application. Now, if you start looking at something that has very high power applications, that's when you want to start looking at something like a film product that can handle those higher power demands. So it really is depending on what the application is. So that's a relatively open-ended question. But if you have an example of what your applications, I can help you figure out what the right product is for your application.
Ok, thank you. André, eu vou pedir para você mandar um e-mail aqui, ó, o marketing@artmar.com.br, que encaminha para o Simon, só para entender sua aplicação certinho. O que o Simon diz? Depende das especificações, tá? Aí depende se é alta frequência ou se é de uso geral, né? Ou se é potência, tá? Para potência, mais filme, né? Film capacitors. E para alta frequência, cerâmica. Is this right, Simon? Or high frequencies are ceramic?
Yep.
Ok. É isso mesmo, pessoal. Entendi certinho. Então depende da especificação. Eu vou pedir para o André mandar um e-mail aí para o marketing@artmar.com.br para tirar mais dúvidas. E eu vou deixar, eu vou abrir a palavra aqui então agora para o Lucas. Lucas, se tiver pergunta, né? Vocês são representantes do Brasil, pode mandar para vocês que você encaminha para o Simon com relação a esse webinar, né?
Exatamente, pessoal. Qualquer dúvida, por favor, entre em contato com o e-mail marketing@artmar.com.br, que nós verificaremos a sua dúvida e suportaremos vocês.
Tá joia. Thank you very much, Simon. Now it's your turn to say goodbye to Brazil.
Obrigado.
Ok. So, we open now. Abrimos agora para o Lucas. Lucas, dê as suas últimas palavras aí para a gente encerrar o webinar. É contigo.
Bom, primeiramente eu gostaria de agradecer a Mauser e a toda a equipe Embarcados por proporcionar esse webinar a todos nós, né? Agradecer também ao Simon pela sua disponibilidade e atenção em realizar o webinar conosco e promover ainda mais a linha aqui no Brasil. Thank you, Simon, for joining us and helping us on this webinar. e agradecer a participação de todos vocês. Desde já, o meu muito obrigado.
É isso aí, obrigado. Eu vou fazer o encerramento agora, pessoal, do webinar aqui, então só peço um instantinho aqui para vocês para deixar o setup certinho. Eu gostaria de agradecer bastante todo mundo que vem no webinar, tá? Tira um tempo aí para vir aqui e discutir com especialistas. Todas essas apresentações, elas são exclusivas do webinar, tá? E a gente tem todo um trabalho que acontece antes desse webinar para isso se tornar real. Mesmo os webinars em português, porque o apresentador ele faz uma apresentação exclusiva. A gente sempre pede para que seja uma nova apresentação, para que vocês tenham motivação, né, para vir assistir o webinar e participar com a gente. A gente tenta responder sempre todas as perguntas e respostas, tá? Então, se vocês tiverem perguntas adicionais, mande lá para o e-mail do marketing, conforme o Lucas colocou aí. Eu queria agradecer demais ao Simon aí, do Grupo Yageo, né, que veio aqui falar hoje sobre Kemet. Foi muito legal a apresentação dele. Dá para entender melhor assim a importância da especificação do componente certo, né, do componente passivo certo. Gostaria de agradecer bastante. E gostaria de agradecer ao Lucas, porque ele fez todo esse meio de campo e conseguiu, né, alinhar todo esse webinar para que isso pudesse acontecer. Então tem muita responsabilidade do Lucas aí, foi muito legal poder fazer o webinar junto aí com a Artimar. Então a gente convida vocês para o próximo webinar, tá? Logo em seguida a gente vai anunciar outro próximo webinar com a parceria da Mauser, tá? Trazendo outro fabricante. Logo em seguida a gente vai trazer também o webinar da comunidade, patrocinado pela Mauser. Então a gente fala para vocês acessarem embarcados.com.br/webinars, para acessarem também os outros webinars que estão lá à disposição, ao vivo, que vai acontecer ao vivo nos próximos dias. Agradeço a todos, muito obrigado e até o próximo webinar, pessoal. Obrigado, boa tarde.